Looking to learn life lessons without going through the experience? You've come to the right place. Welcome to Hidden Struggles with your host, Lady C.
Hey, this is Lady C. Welcome to another episode of Hidden Struggles. And in this upcoming episode, I'm going to be just sharing my own personal experience about what it was like as one of Jehovah's Witnesses when it came to voting. And what I remember is even when I was in high school, grade school, whatever it was, we were told not to vote. We were not allowed to vote. In fact, the word vote had a bad connotation. It was almost like a curse word when it came to my upbringing and how I looked at that word. And I mean, when I think about, student council, when you would have that in school and people would vote in the president, vice presidents, and they'd have all these different positions and stuff on these different committees and organizations and stuff like that. And we were told as children that this was a precursor to other political affiliations and that we were not to have any part of these voting processes. So when you think about the way they would get you as a little kid and, making you look at this word vote as it was something that was just a bad thing to do. Now, think about this too. When it came to voting for homeowners associations and things like that, all because, like I said, when I was growing up, this is the way they looked at it. When you were a Jehovah's Witness during the time I was coming along, you had been indoctrinated that voting across any lines was just wrong, right? So now, fast forward some years later, after I'm waking up to the truth about this religion, realizing, hey, look, they don't really have all the answers. They don't have the real truth that they say they have. And I began to do my investigation about voting. And I could not believe it. And I'm talking about political voting now, because when I left the Jehovah's Witnesses, I did vote for the first time, and have been voting ever since and couldn't understand what was the big deal about me casting my vote for whatever my policies were or the people that, I thought had my best interest in the policies that they were promoting, and I'm not even getting into that, whether somebody's right or wrong. It's just, I'm just telling you about the process of voting. So, throughout the years, I had to learn about the voting process. And I remember how people were talking about the different bills they had to pass for different groups of people. And I remember talking to this individual, and I was like, well, I can't understand why they just can't have a specific bill for this group of people and then have a specific bill for that group of people. And all of a sudden, the guy said, are you serious? He said, there's no way those bills would pass. Absolutely not. Those bills will not pass just putting just a specific group of people in. And he said what they do is they put all of those bills into one bill and they pass that bill as it is. Okay? So I say all that to say this. A lot of people are just frustrated with the process of voting. People always say that their vote doesn't count. And there's, all these issues going on as it relates to voting. And this is not just Jehovah's Witnesses, because Jehovah's Witnesses are just forbidden to do voting in a political arena. And the reason why they're, forbidden to do that is because according to their church leaders, Jesus told them that voting was not something that they could do or should do because they were supposed to be voting for his kingdom. That would be the kingdom that Jesus talked about when he was here on earth. And that's why Jehovah's Witnesses do not vote, okay, in political arenas. Okay, so now, but think about it like this. When you have people that are being governed or they're living in various areas, I learned that when you're working with, just living, we're just talking about living. We're talking about organization. We're talking about someone has to allocate funds for the people. Where are people going to live? How are they going to be housed? What about education? All of this kind of stuff. So when you think about voting in the political arenas, that is what keeps societies going, right? You need someone to be in charge. And the way that Jehovah's Witnesses spin it is like, we're not going to do anything. We're not going to have anything to do with any of these institutions because we're going to just sit here and wait on God. Well, let me tell you something. when they just had those couple of hurricanes that came through, the people that were voted into various offices in local localities, and even from a federal standpoint, had to get together to pool funds to give to these individuals. And so when you say you're not going to vote, then you're not voting for people to handle these type of things. Now, of course, people say all politicians are corrupt. It still doesn't, absolve us or resolve the issue that someone has to be put in charge of something so it gets done. So at that point, everybody's vote counts. Because if you're living in a locality and you've got a person, and let's say you're on some benefit that you have, and all of a sudden, you got two candidates running, and now one of the candidates wants to get rid of these benefits because they don't think that people need to be on them or whatever, So now the person that comes out and says, I'm not voting, let's say you got like 500 people in town, and they got an issue going on with this situation, and they're on this benefit. And all 500 people stay home, and then you got like 2 people come out and vote for the other person that wants to get rid of this benefit. You got 2 people voting for the issues of 500. So at that point, just doing nothing means, yes, something gets done, but it might not be getting done on your behalf. You see? So this is what I'm saying. This is what the Watchtower was doing to people. The Watchtower was making people, not be able to vote for their interests. And a lot of times we have to show up to vote. Just like I just had a situation on my homeowners association where this one guy came on to be voted onto the homeowners board, and only 11 people voted for that person. So like out of 800 homes, 11 people made the decision to put this guy on the homeowners association, right? So it's not like saying it's a good or bad choice. It's just that voting has consequences. And these are the kind of issues that the Watchtower would not allow us to be part of. Not only that, but if the Watchtower did allow people to vote, if they allowed individuals to, go out, cast their vote, my question would be, thinking back, it makes me wonder what would have happened in the congregation. Because remember, the Watchtower is not an organization that believes in independent thinking. So just like now, whenever you go to jw.org and there's a holiday approaching, the Watchtower always writes some kind of article talking about it. Like right now, Halloween is going to be celebrated. So if you go to jw.org, there's an article about Halloween and kind of like demonizing it. Oh, this is bad spirits and all these kind of things, talking about how bad this holiday is and how all these people that's going to be celebrating it is going to be out here, celebrating demons and things like that. This is what they're saying in this article. So when you think about that, they're talking about, they're putting their spin on it, helping people to appreciate why it's not a good idea to celebrate Halloween. Okay. Once again, I'm not talking about the right and wrong of Halloween. I'm just talking about the Watchtower and how they write articles to support how they feel about the activity. Okay, so now when you think about the Watchtower and how they would do that for Halloween, Christmas, or any other holiday that they don't support, what do you think that they would do when it came to voting? That's right. Whoever the Watchtower felt should be the candidate of choice, they would no doubt write an article that would support how they feel about the candidate that they believe should be elected. And so it's nothing different than all the other things that they've ever done. And not only that, but, throughout the time that I've been voting, never before has it been so political where literally millions of people are at odds with their family right now. Because if one candidate chooses the other candidate, the other family member is no longer having anything to do with them. So can you imagine what it would be like being at the Kingdom Hall right now if voting was allowed and people were able to express who they were voting for? You can only imagine the turmoil that would be going on at the Kingdom Hall right now if this was a possibility. But I'm not saying that Jehovah's Witnesses as an individual will not be voting, because I have heard of a lot of people saying that they know Jehovah's Witnesses that have done that, but they had to do it under secrecy. They were not allowed to let people know that they voted, and where they won't disfellowship you if they find out that you have voted in a political campaign or something. then you could be considered disassociated. And they say that you do this by your actions. So anyway, I just want to just come out and, put my hat in the ring to talk about the Watchtower and voting and how it is a serious, serious thing about how they have been able to effectively keep a group of people from voting their own interests. This has been Lady C. I thank you for tuning into my audience. Leave your comments below because I would love to hear what you got to say. And I'll see you on the next episode.
Thank you so much for tuning in to Hidden Struggles with your host, Lady C. Remember to like, share, and subscribe to stay connected with us. For more content, insights, and support, visit us online at hiddenstruggles.com.